The next person on our panel who is going to go ahead and help us in this time is Diane Mulligan. So I'm going to let Diane take it away.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you. And I thought Kate did a great job of giving you kind of a framework for what you could do to communicate. And when we look at how you answered the poll questions just a minute ago, we're all worried about our business, our jobs, what to communicate, what to talk about. So we're going to start a little bit about how you kind of go through what you're going to communicate and how you're going to respond. So the first thing that we think about is defining what it is that you're talking about. Is it an issue or is it a crisis? A lot of times you pick up the phone and you've got somebody on the other line who thinks they have a crisis. But when you kind of step back for a minute, realize it's an issue. Your goal is to be the calm one in the room, whether you're at a nonprofit, whether you have a small business, whether you work in government. When you're brought into that room or when you get that call and they're like, this is what's going on, try to maintain your calm and think about it from the outside. It may feel like a huge crisis to you right now because of your perspective from being inside wherever you are, but would it be a huge crisis if it's outside? So think about that and take a breath. It's very important for you to take a second, think about what you're going to do. Now, if this is misinformation, you want to act very quickly on misinformation. In fact, this week, Governor Newsom over in California came out and had a news conference, and he talked about Bank of America. And this is how he talked about him. He said, 4 of our 5 biggest banks are going to waive, do a waiver for mortgages for 90 days. One is not, Bank of America. That is a crisis because the governor just came out about it. And then to add on to it, James Corden, the late night talk show host, tweeted what Governor Newsom said, and Corden has 10.7 million followers. So in that situation, you want to respond very quickly with the correct information. And Bank of America did that. And not only did they respond to all media outlets saying, here's the correct information. We're waiving those payments for 30 days, but then we're going to reassess every month. And we may continue waivers even longer than 90 days. But then they also tweeted Corden directly. And they tweeted him, and he came out with a tweet talking about how difficult times are right now and what a good job that Bank of America was doing by getting back to him with correct information. And the last line was, way to go. That's what you need to do if it's misinformation. But if it's criticism, you want to engage your followers. And that's where follower engagement comes up. So if you get criticized, first look at who's criticizing you online for whatever it was you said. How many followers, what kind of reach does this person really have? Is it a troll? Who is it? Give it a few minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes to see if your followers jump in to defend you, because their defense has so much more credibility than anything that you're going to put out there. And then lastly, when you do actually put something out there, make sure that when you put it out, there, that you are extremely respectful. It should be short and concise, and then you move on. And one of our rules is we never have more than 3 engagements. That's it. At the end of 3 engagements, we're done. And when you do all that, you do a thing we call move the stairs. So move the stairs is where you look at a situation, any situation that you're given. There's no whining. You're creative. You assess it. And the biggest thing is on the bottom of this slide, you say, what can I do? Not if it was this way or if it was that way, but what can I do? Let me give you a quick explanation of that, or an example of that. I was a young reporter, and I got to field produce for the first time, and it was Senator McCain's, one of his elections, but we knew he was going to win. And I walked into a big ballroom where he was going to give his acceptance speech that night. And it's like 4 p.m. And when I get there, I realized my station is completely out of position. In fact, the other 2 stations, there were only 3 stations at the time, but the other 2 stations were on one side of the podium, and then on my side of the podium was PBS and then my station. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Because in television news, to win, you have to have the candidate first right after they give their acceptance speech. So I walked up to the podium, and it's on a big riser, and there are these huge metal stairs on one side of the riser, and they have wheels on them. They're bolted in, but when I went around to the other side of the riser, I saw that there was a place I could bolt them in on my side. So I unbolted them and I moved the stairs. I moved the stairs to the other side so that when he was done giving his acceptance speech, he had to walk to my station. We got him first. We won the night. The bottom line is we try to do that every time we're in a crisis, every time we're in an issue. How do you move the stairs? Because moving the stairs means that you're going to look at it from a different perspective. You're going to be creative. And you can do that with almost every situation. And when you do, you really shine. And that's what you want to do right now. You want to have consistent communication because the reality is right now we're all battling isolation. And people are looking for information. So whether it's with your coworkers, with your boss, with your tribe, with your sphere, with your clients, whatever the heck you call your group, this is a time when you want to give some sense of control. So you want to go ahead, as Kate said, make sure that you use those reputable sources, but this is the key to this slide. This is the key to what I want to talk to you about, is you want to give people actionable suggestions, things that they can do. Let me give you a perfect example. Yesterday, I saw that a local restaurant said that people were somewhat concerned about coming to pick up food for takeout because they're now hearing that the virus can live on plastic, and how do you get that plastic home without bringing the virus into your house? And they went step by step with what you should do when you get home, how you should take the food out that has not been touched by human hands with your own utensils and put it on a plate, throw away whatever packaging it is, wash your hands and go and eat your food. That gives you a sense of control. A sense of control gives you a sense of peace. People will remember you if you can do that. So the most important messages that you can put out there are messages where people can take action, not just listen to what you say, but give them something to do. And it will make such a huge difference. And that's where they will become incredibly receptive to your message. So amazing receptivity is so important. And we want you to do that with your clients, with your stakeholders, anybody right now. This is the time when, and you can move forward. Oh, Kate, thank you for not going yet. I apologize. The other thing that I wanted to say about PESO here, and I should have gone to that, there are so many ways to reach out. I use this model. I know Michelle uses this model. Look at the list of different ways that you can reach out and touch the people that you want to communicate with. Use this as much as possible because you're going to be touching them in different ways and they'll remember you. Okay, Kate, now we can go to the next one. So getting back to the receptivity. This is the time when I want you to reach out to all these people because not only they're receptive, but this is uncertain times. And again, if you can give those actionable items, they're going to remember you. So we're coming into uncertain economic times. I was in nonprofit world for quite a while. Back in 2009, I was laid off. In 2008, I started reaching out to everybody that I knew, not asking for a job, not sitting there saying, can I have an interview, but getting them information, making sure I was top of mind so that if they had something that came up when it was time for me to be laid off, which I knew was coming, that I was going to have some options. The same for developing business. So very, very important that you're reaching out now and that you're providing the information to your current clients, your former clients, people that you know on LinkedIn. Get your name out there, get things working, and be smart about your outreach. So Kate, if you can go forward a little bit, there you go. So your current, make sure that it's current, former, and also potential clients or stakeholders. Is there a place you want to work? Is there some information that you give them? Did you write a great blog that would help them with their communication right now? Send it out to them. This is the time. And then don't be tone deaf. So remember, the communications are all about them. This is really important. So when you write something, have somebody within your group or from the outside, someone that's a colleague or a friend, read what you're going to be putting out so that it's not self-serving in any way. You want to be more altruistic. It's really important that you get that message out there. The second thing is I want you to watch body language. When you're on Zoom, you are presenting. Everything about you is being evaluated by the person on the other end of that camera. You're coming into their room. You need to look professional. Your background needs to look professional. You need to really think about if somebody on that call says something stupid that you don't roll your eyes. You need to have the smile on, smiles as we call them. Smiles, I don't know if you can see that, but you're going to smile with your eyes and you're going to be upbeat and positive. You're going to stay that way through the call no matter what. You must retain that professional appearance. People will remember that because there's a lot of people out there who are not doing that right now. The other thing is, I don't know how many of you saw the rant by the Longmont mayor, but he was on Zoom. How many people saw that rant about COVID that he went on and had to come back for? Think about what you're saying. It's so very, very important. Also, I want you to think about in the back of your head, your worst enemy, your biggest competitor. Who is it that could take whichever you say and rip it apart? If you have that person always in the back of your head, you will not put your foot in it while you're talking. You don't have to worry about putting your foot in it because you've got that little voice in the back of your head. So always keep that person back there when you're presenting. And finally, I want to say mix it up. So while we're doing informational, educational, and actionable, remember actionable communication, make sure it's also compassionate, understanding, and have some fun. Show your personality. Because when you communicate this way with these kinds of messages, you show who you are and what you're doing. And right now, it's going to be so important because we don't have that interpersonal communication where we're standing next to one another and people can really read that body language. They're seeing you pretty much from the neck up. So when you're putting information out there, make sure those last three are part of your communication plan every time you do it. And you're going to do just fine through this. In fact, I look at these times as a tremendous potential.